that shows me doing something weird and wacky on Twitch. There you go.
Okay, are we good? We're there.
We are good. We're good. I'm rocking the Uncharted 2 shirt. Yes. Pulled that out of the dustpan. Yes. All right. Now we're live. We're live and living color. Okay, maybe not 4K HDR, but yeah, it's all good. It's all good.
Okay, well, let's ready to roll when you are.
All right. Here comes our magical presentation coming up in 3, 2. Hold on, I had to sneeze. I guess not. Okay, well, here we go. On this week's episode, Master Chief returns for an all-new adventure. Is the best game really at the Game Awards? And after 38 years, is it time to fight the World Crime League? All this and more as we once again delve into the pop culture cosmos. And we're back with another episode of the Pop Culture Cosmos. This is Gerald Glassford from Pop Culture Cosmos, Game Source, Inside Sports Fantasy Football, and the Lakers Fast Break. We truly appreciate everyone out there listening to all of our shows. And if you can, please give us a 5-star review. I feel like a mime here doing the 5 thing on Apple Podcasts. Plus, if you can like, share, subscribe, follow, or do anything that you can to support us right here at the Lakers Fast Break, Pop Culture Cosmos, Inside Sports Fantasy Football, Game Source, Humanican Media, and of course, do anything that you can to support us because we are the #1 tabletop RPG streamer on Facebook. And on Sundays is a big day because not only you get a fabulous game run by DM Mitch in the morning, you also get Vampires and Vitae in the afternoon, and you got us smashed right in the middle, right there for you. So it can't get any better than that. Please check out Facebook, Pop Culture Cosmos, plus also Pop Culture Cosmos on Twitch, YouTube, and whatever we do, including our brand new spawn. And hello to all the listeners out there on the Wisdom app. For conversations that matter, talk with thoughtful and amazing people, you can listen live or listen later and be inspired by thousands of talks, including ours. Please go ahead and check us out today on the Wisdom app. But it wouldn't be a Pop Culture Cosmos without my good friend. He is our own voice of wisdom at Pop Culture Cosmos. You got to go ahead and check out what he's doing today at popculturecosmos.com. His awesome shows as part of the Humanican Media experience entitled the Super BS Gamescast and Topicocalypse, plus his amazing book, and we'll get into books a little bit later, but he's got one himself entitled Congratulations, You Suck. It is my good friend. It is Josh Peterson. What's up, man?
What's up? So I recently got to the ending of Cowboy Bebop. I know we've been talking about
So did
this
I.
for a while. Okay, what did you think of that ending? As a non-fan of the anime, what did you think?
I thought it was solid. I had an issue with episode 8 where they were talking about doing a plan all together to beat this one supervillain,
Yeah.
and it ended up just being, just Cowboy Bebop himself, ended up being Spike himself doing the whole thing. And it was like, okay, I thought they were talking about doing this thing together, and they had the whole this grandiose plan, and ended up just being him. But 9 and 10 closed out pretty good, left it open, obviously, for another season, which is still pending from Netflix. We'll see what happens there. It was trending at one time in the top 5 shows on Netflix, so maybe that's enough volume out there. A lot of people like it. A lot of people hated it, so there's a lot of divisiveness out there. I said overall this series is good, but I want to hear what you think, my friend.
So as someone who does enjoy the the anime, like it kind of it was good up until like that last part. It was good up until the last episode because it looked like it was going to close everything off, and then it
It
didn't.
can't if it wants to go ahead and
No,
extend itself.
I know that. I know that. And but I didn't like where they left things. Like that was I don't know that what's his name, Jet's child being taken hostage. Like that felt forced to me. You know, like there how do we bring all these characters together? It felt so forced. And why was Spike so against telling Jet about being in the syndicate? You know, that was never an issue in the cartoon. And so I guess like I didn't like the openness. And I guess the thing that irritated me the most at the end of that show was the thing with Julia. Like that was not even anything talked about in the anime. It was her wanting to take over the syndicate.
Yeah.
And that I think that element right there almost ruined the show for me. You know, yes, I will go back
Wow.
and watch a second season, but that right there really just killed it for me because I didn't like the turnaround that her character made.
I kind of liked personally on that end because it gives her a chance to grow her character,
Yeah.
and it seemingly still keeps the main villain, still alive in some sense. Spoilers, by the way, everyone, if you didn't know by now. But yeah, spoilers if you haven't watched it. All 10 episodes are available now on Netflix. But we are talking about Cowboy Bebop, and I'll say overall, I kind of liked it. To me, I really enjoyed my time with it. So I liked the turn at the end. I know you didn't, but because again, that's probably a non-comic book fan or non-anime
Well,
fan to the anime fan.
yeah.
Maybe that's the difference right there. I know the what's the character's name with the weird glasses and whatnot, the Ed character, or
Yeah, so
that.
that was
Yeah,
that
a
was
lot
the
of people don't like the fact that it was just barely introduced at the very end. But it's setting yourself up for season two.
yeah.
I love the Jet Black and Faye Valentine
Oh
characters.
my
I
gosh,
think
yeah,
they're
they
tremendous.
were really great, and I love the I don't know that this show kind of gave Faye a little more depth than what she has had previously.
Yeah, I
So
just thought she was tremendous. I thought Jet Black is tremendous. I think
yeah,
those two actors are really, really, really good. I thought John Cho, uh, he's good. He's all right. He's all right as Spike Spiegel. He's effective for what he does. You have casted better? Yeah, I think you could have, but
yeah,
I think he's okay. I just thought that Jet Black
he
and Faye Valentine in their roles were just so much better.
yeah, and Spike Spiegel was cool. He just didn't capture that like coolness. Sorry, John Cho. I mean, he just didn't effectively capture the coolness of Spike Spiegel, and I think that was one of the things that dragged the show down a little bit for me. But again, like it wasn't bad. I also with Ed, you know, I didn't feel like the show felt like a live action anime until Ed showed up. I feel like they were trying way too hard to make Ed true to the anime. Like that Ed was almost I don't know, Ed was almost an unbelievable character, and I think that's another element. But like I said, like I will watch a second season. Um
Should Netflix approve it?
yeah, should Netflix approve it? But it was just, you know, there were some things about it that kind of rubbed me the wrong way.
I know it wasn't perfect for everybody, but I kind of liked it. And again, as someone who goes into it as a non-anime, non-fan of the anime, I just never had a chance to get around to watching the original anime. So it's not that I didn't like it or not like it. I just didn't get a chance to watch it in previous years. So I've never been a huge fan of anime after watching Akira. I've said that on the show many times. So for me, watching this, I thought was a really good introduction to the Cowboy Bebop character. And I actually might now get into the Cowboy Bebop anime because of it. So I think, again, for me, it was a positive, and I'm hoping for a season two of Cowboy Bebop. But it is going to be a great show. We're going to be talking about a ton of great things here on this December edition of the Pop Culture Cosmos. Halo is coming out pretty soon. In fact, this week, the whole game is dropping as far as the campaign is concerned. So we'll talk about our expectations for that. Plus, also as well, two major properties out there in superhero land dropped some trailers this past weekend in Peacemaker and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. So we'll talk about each coming up on the show. The Game Awards is coming out on the 9th. It's going to be broadcasted on every outlet that you're going to get able to get a hands on, YouTube, Twitch, the whole nine yards. The one thing we want to talk about as far as predictions, we're not going to be talking about every single category. We're just going to talk about one category in particular in our annual let's talk the Game Awards. And that is the game of the year. They came out with the nominations already, and you can actually vote on them today at the Game Awards website. But we're going to talk about the Game Awards Game of the Year and if this actually is a true representation of the best games of 2021. We're going to talk about that coming up on the show, plus five of the coolest pop culture gift ideas. And would Josh like to stay at the house known from Home Alone? We'll talk about that at the back end of the show as well. But first, my friend, it is Halo Infinite. It is dropping very, very soon on the 7th, if I'm not mistaken. I want to hear your thoughts on this. I have been at length on the show talking about how this was a mistake by Microsoft to even produce it and release it at this time. They should have released it 2 weeks ago. Actually, they should have released it a year and 2 weeks ago, but have delayed it up until this point. They bypassed the Black Friday shopping season, which everybody was spending their money on, and are gambling on the fact that maybe people will go ahead and spend the money on it now. Your thoughts on the expectations that you have for Master Chief in a big return for him in Halo Infinite?
It's weird. Like, if you were to ask me about my expectations for Halo 10 years ago, I would say like after Combat Evolved came out, or
Mm-hmm.
or even three,
Wait, no, at three, after three. Let's
after
say
three.
after
If you were
three.
to ask me my expectations, they'd be pretty high. Because I was still pretty high on that franchise. I loved. Sorry, my dog's like banging sticks against the doors. I love the mythology. I love the emotion that was brought forth in that storytelling, and I loved the Marty O'Donnell's soundtrack was so good.
And I'd
And
say sales wise, Halo 3 might have been the peak of the series
yeah, and
because just the sheer importance of the Halo franchise.
no, I definitely agree with you there. But a big factor for me was that there weren't a lot of games out there that were franchise based and had stories that kept you wanting more. Like you look at Resident Evil games, they're like, oh yeah, it's a zombie outbreak, and there's a villain pulling the strings, there's a virus and all that, and there's even like Borderlands. Borderlands is fun, but it's not like a story that I'm clamoring to want more. I'm clamoring for more of that. Even Gears of War, I guess, would be the same. But Halo had something special. Halo is the only game franchise that I have. I mean, even more so than Final Fantasy, and I love me some Final Fantasy. But Halo is the only game franchise that made me truly want to go and explore every nook and cranny of that universe. Mass Effect and it does that for me in a different way, but Halo, it's like it doesn't have as much to explore. So I feel like I feel more satisfied at the end of Halo because I know that I was able to scour every inch of this universe, without taking 60 plus hours to do it. I love looking for the terminals and just exploring all the different like nooks and crannies, looking for skulls. So if you were to ask me what my expectations were after Halo 3, they'd be pretty high. Since then, Halo 4 was okay. Halo 5 was really a bummer for me. I did not like it. And I mean, I didn't dislike it. I just was not a huge fan of what they did with the game, especially since it took so much focus off Master Chief. And I know I'm just another voice in the choir, people saying the same things over and over. So going into this one, yeah, I'm excited to play it, but like I am nowhere near excited as I was when say like Halo 3 came out. It's one of those games where like I'm looking forward to it, but not with really any expectations in mind.
And that's something that is squarely on the shoulders of Microsoft and 343 Studios for getting to this point where there are a lot of people like you that don't have the high level of expectations going into this because of the fact that Halo 5 was such a disappointment. And like you said,
Yeah.
there's a large chorus of individuals that were disappointed by Halo 5 and its ultimate outcome. Halo 4 was kind of trending in the wrong direction, but still had some hope.
Yeah.
Halo 5 was the ultimate disappointment. So we'll see what happens. I mean, it is focusing more again and solely, primarily, I'd say primarily, on Master Chief and a new version of the Halo, almost going back to the original Halos. What worked for the original Halo. I think it's going back to that type of style. This is going to be a little bit more open ended, a little bit more open world, but it's not a full open world. I just want to make sure everybody knows that it's going to give you some broadness as far as where you go. It's not as linear. It's not going to be as you get to be able to do some exploration, things of that nature. So things are looking good there. But I want to go ahead and say that yes, my expectations are tempered with this release. I just say it better be good because again, I'm going to go on the soapbox one last time and say yes, this game needs to be good because of the fact it came out a year later than expected. This had a chance to be the quintessential game for this decade in the fact that it could have released and launched alongside the Xbox Series S and X and really boosted that where quite frankly it could have actually exceeded the Xbox ahead of the PlayStation 5 because the PlayStation 5 did not have a marquee title upon its release. And just imagine if the Xbox and Halo would have been released alongside each other. I mean, the expectations and the results could have been outstanding. And now we have over a year later, after the biggest selling point of the year for most individual retail outlets and most individual games that come around that time. There's a reason why Call of Duty and Battlefield and all these other games come out in late October, early November, is because they want to go ahead and be there and be available for the Black Friday rush. And now it couldn't even make that. So I have tempered expectations, but they're also expectations that they better deliver or the Halo franchise future as a preeminent game series could be in doubt.
Yeah, I mean, and part of me also wonders like how much farther can we take this? How how much bigger can we make this universe? We already had this big fight with the Master Chief. We briefly talked about and completely dropped the ball in the Forerunner story. Now we have the Banished, so we're back at these, one of the Covenant races. Like where else is this story gonna go? There's not really a lot more mystery to be unfolded in this universe unless there's like they introduce some big foe that even preceded the Forerunners. And I know they have the precursors in there, but the precursors are just supposed to be the Flood. So
There needs to be a new threat.
amen. That's exactly what I'm saying. Like it's just they're kind of rehashing the same things over and over again. So looking at Halo Infinite, like where is this feels like, I mean, if this is good, wouldn't it just make sense to end the franchise right here and maybe 5-6 years from now, 10 years maybe, have like a new something in this universe, right? Something that is a sequel to Halo, but it's very quiet about being connected to the rings.
What are your thoughts out there on Halo Infinite, which is being released this week to store shelves and digital platforms on the Xbox Series S and X? We're excited to hear about what's going on in the latest adventure for Master Chief. As you can see above my left shoulder, he's standing above, he's looking over us right now. So we'll see what happens in his latest adventure in Halo Infinite. Will it be the success that Microsoft has been hoping for now for over a year in its delayed launch? Or will it be something that gamers are not as interested in and, quite frankly, have let Halo gone by? We'll see what happens with that. But if you have any thoughts on Halo Infinite, we're already having a lot of fun with the Halo Infinite multiplayer. So that now, I think, because of the fact that they released it differently, is this whole separate issue. But will be your thoughts on the Halo Infinite campaign? Are you excited to play it? We want to hear your thoughts as you play it or after you're done with it. Please let us know your thoughts on the Halo Infinite campaign. PopCultureCosmos at yahoo.com. Well, my friend, there's so much more to talk about on today's program. Did you get a chance to see Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse Part 1, which is coming out late next year? They came out with their first look as far as it's concerned with Spider-Gwen dropping in on Miles Morales and all ready to start a new adventure again in a different part of the Spider-Verse per se. So it looks really cool. Could he be going into the future? Into a alternate timeline, an alternate universe that looks really cool. Gave you just a brief look, but again, the animation style and the look and the feel that won it the Academy Award when the original came out 3 years ago. It was something that you and I both spoke very highly of when it was released, and of course, like I said, it won the Academy Awards. So this is the follow up that Sony is very happy to go ahead and present to you. Kind of came out at a weird time this weekend. Wasn't expecting a big release like this. Didn't know they needed to release it now. Would have probably been better maybe, in a few days when Spider-Man No Way Home comes out. I mean, they could have released it alongside that. Probably would have been more apropos, but they did. They released it. Looks really good. Looks like more of the same. And you know what? That may not be such a bad thing.
Yeah, so I saw this trailer drop last night, and yeah, it was. I mean, it wasn't really a trailer. Actually, it was more of like a part of the film or a
Yeah,
prequel
part of the actual
clip,
film. It's
or
like a first look at the actual film.
yeah, and it was cool. I mean, I guess it was nice to be back in that world, and I forgot just like what a great job the voice actor for Miles Morales does with that character,
Yes.
and
And Haley Steinfeld, who is Kate Bishop,
his
is back as
back
Spider Gwen.
is yep, that's right. So yeah, I mean they showed her opening the portal and he's wondering how that happened and all that. And then all of a sudden it like fast forwards to the scene of him falling through time or whatever and he's fighting Spider-Man 2099, which is actually one of my absolute favorite iterations of that character. It's Miguel O'Hara. For those of you who are comic book fans or aren't comic book fans, it's from they did a loose interpretation of that comic book on Fox Kids back in like the 90s called Spider-Man Unlimited, which only
Played
lasted
by
like
Oscar Isaac. I just want to make
Oscar
sure I
Isaac.
mentioned.
That's right. Yeah, it only lasted
They've
like
got a lot of graduates, man, from
they
that
do.
particular movie to other Marvel projects. You've got the Eternals, you've got Moon Knight, you've got
Hmm.
a Hawkeye. You've got them all in there as part of the cast. So
Yeah, yeah, and they did a good job. Anyway, Spider-Man 2099, one of my favorite iterations of Spider-Man. So I'm excited to see that play out, but also like why were they fighting each other? That made no sense to me, you know?
maybe he was trying to get him to get into whatever universe that 2099 Spider-Man 2099 is going into. So maybe that's could be the deal. I'm not 100% sure, but I mean, it looks very interesting, and I really, really enjoyed the what I've seen so far because I was really surprised. I was going into Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and I was like, okay, this is going to be a cool movie. Maybe I'll go ahead and check it out. And I checked it out, and I was literally floored at how great this movie was. I mean, it was one of my best movies of the year it came out, and the animation style, the feel, it was like, okay, Sony went ahead and the animation studios and said, we're going to take everything that's been done right and we're going to go ahead and amp it up to 10 in far as animation is concerned. The animation style, the look, the feel, the story, everything just flowed so well. The voice acting, everything hit on that corner. In fact, to me, it's one of the best animated films of the last decade. I'm going to put it right out there. So, I mean, in fact, I would stand it up with any animated film of the last decade, if to be quite honest with you, because I think it's just that good. But
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what's going to happen across the Spider Verse when it comes out, part one.
Part 1,
So
that's what I was going to say. Yeah, that sounds like
yeah,
it's
they're
going to
already
be
telling you it's a part one
a,
because a part two is coming
a
up. I'm sure after that.
two-parter. Yeah, for sure.
But you're enjoying your time with it. You're excited to go ahead and see it. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
you
definitely.
know,
I got
it
um yeah, no, I mean this is like a big time for Spider-Man. So like I just also recently got my tickets for No Way Home. I don't know, I got a little scared after like I saw they're selling on eBay for like $1,400, but then I was able to just snag them on Cinemark for like $6. So it wasn't really I don't know what
you're the
that whole
man.
thing. Yeah, I mean, did you read that though? Like scalpers crashed
Yep. I
Fandango's
reported that
website.
on the Facebook page for Pop
Yeah,
Culture
it's
Cosmos.
insane,
Yeah.
man. It's absolutely insane. And like
Let me guess, L.A. or New York?
LA and yeah, LA or New York, and they're selling, and people are buying them because I mean, you can go to sold listings, and there are ones that are green, so obviously somebody bought them. But yeah, it's absolutely insane, man.
Well, it reminds me of the days with Avengers Endgame, is when they were people for the premiere night, the Thursday night premiere first showing, that they were selling that on eBay, like you said, for thousands of dollars. So, and people were buying them. So, it just is crazy what people are going to do
Oh, for sure.
to go ahead and say they see it first. I mean, you're not. Let me put it out there. You're not going to see it first. The critics get to see it first,
Yeah.
so that's who really sees it first. Plus, there's a premiere, so you really, in essence, don't really get to see it first. But
Yeah.
you want to spend $1,000 on a ticket for Spider-Man: No Way Home? God bless you. All right, that's what you really want to do with your cash. All right.
Just I don't know. I mean, the fact that people can afford to do that is disgusting in itself.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. I mean, I digress on that one, but it is Spider-Man coming not only with No Way Home, but in the not too distant future next year there will be a new Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse Part 1
They give a
coming to
solid
you.
release date on that.
Was it October? I think it was October of next
October.
year.
Okay.
If I'm not.
All right.
Yeah, so it is not coming out till later next year, the fall, but still looking very good. What we're seeing so far, like the first taste of it, actually from the movie, it wasn't a, like Josh says, not a trailer per se, but it was a kind of look into the actual movie itself. So I like that scene. That that's something that they don't do a lot of. So I'm liking what I'm seeing so far from Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Are you liking what you're seeing from Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse Part 1? Please let us know. Popculturecosmos at yahoo.com. Well, before we hit the break, my friend, did you get a chance to see Peacemaker? Peacemaker with John Cena. That series, I believe, is coming to HBO Max in January, if I'm not mistaken. He is coming out there. He's having a great sense of humor. Looks like he's got his little team together to go ahead and help him. Plus, I think, I don't know if it's his brother as Vigilante, but I think it is. So his brother, as Vigilante, looks like it's going to be set up for it. It looks like it's going to be set up for another comedic run for John Cena and a very much appreciated and beloved character from the Suicide Squad. But your thoughts on Peacemaker before we head to the break?
I don't know. Like I enjoyed what I saw of him. In Suicide Squad, he was funny. Although I didn't really quite understand his character. Just there's his character was frustrating in the fact that he wasn't willing to break his own moral code like the rest of them. And I guess that's also what makes him interesting. But anyways, I don't know. I'm not really interested in watching a whole series on this, though. I guess it all depends on what the reviews say. I did think John Cena was funny in the role. Is this something that you're going to be checking out, though? I mean, do you feel like an
Yes.
entire series based on this character is going to be something that does well?
That's a good question. Will this comedic sense of him being just the one of the dumbest superheroes out there and having the eagle as his friend, the sight gags and the fact he's going to be running around possibly in his underwear again, like he was in the Suicide Squad. I mean, it was funny at the time, as far as doing all the stuff that he did in Suicide Squad. But is he going to go ahead and be able to stretch that out over a 5, 6, 10 episode type deal? I don't know exactly yet how many episodes that they're targeting for this. I'm assuming it's going to be like a 5 or 6 limited release type deal, but if that's the case, I am going to watch it. I am going to give it a try and see what we can do as far as enjoying it is concerned. So I am I'm looking forward to it. I am looking forward to seeing how his character gets expanded upon. I think that it is going to be a challenge to see if you can contain that humor and be able to extend that humor out over the course of a 5, 6, or 10 episode series. So I'm interested and intrigued. I am going to give it an initial shot, and I know we'll report our thoughts here on the Pop Culture Cosmos. So I'm looking forward to sharing my thoughts on the series with that. But yes, it is Peacemaker. It is John Cena, and I'm just actually glad that he was able to go ahead and take the time to do that because he's a very busy man with all the different things that he's doing and the movie roles that he's still getting and the fact that he still occasionally dips his toe back into the waters of the WWE, that he still had time to go ahead and film this. I think it shows that he's excited to play the character, that he's excited to go ahead and extend the life of the character and extend and broaden the reach of what this character can do. So I'm intrigued by it. I'm intrigued by it, and I'm hoping that there are good things in store for us with Peacemaker on HBO Max coming out in January. So I'm going to give it a shot, my friend. In fact, like I said, with John Cena taking the time to film this because it does take little bit of an extended stay to go ahead and film these episodes for his busy schedule. It shows he's really committed to this character, and at least I'm going to give him I'm going to give him props for that.
Yes. Hey, real quick, if you guys are joining us on the Wisdom app, thank you. And also, hopefully, you can hear my co-host. I can't really tell like what audio is coming through, so hopefully, it doesn't just sound like me talking to myself. But yeah,
They don't need to hear me.
welcome to the Hopefully, you heard that too, and welcome to the show.
Well, thank you. Welcome to the show on the Wisdom app. But your final thoughts on Peacemaker before we head to the break, my friend.
So this is not something I'm going to be going out of my way to watch. But, if the reviews are good, it's funny. I've been actually striking out on TV shows a lot lately. Like last night, I watched the first episode of Wheel of Time on Amazon, and I was totally expecting this to be amazing, but the CG just really fell short for me. And this is like my fear of these like movie properties put down onto a lower level is that it's just not going to have the same like quality and the same wow factor as other things. It depends on the reviews for me. Will I watch Peacemaker? Maybe. We'll see. I don't know. But it's cool that they are expanding and connecting universes through smaller types of media.
It's funny, though, that you talk about Wheel of Time. And I am personally thinking it's all right. I still think that there should be a lot more CG than as far as the magical part of the whole thing. I'm thinking there's too much, a little bit of conversation and character building. I think that it's good that they have it, but I think there's a whole lot of it. I think that's in place of the actual mystical and magical elements that I think need to be a little bit more sprinkled into the series. So it's kind of going to be a series for me that I watched and I'm going to have to try and get back into. I know my wife's a little bit farther ahead of me on the number of the number of shows that she's seen as opposed to me. So I've been catching up on a lot of other things as far as what we're seeing on TV. I know I started Star Trek Discovery and I finished Cowboy Bebop and I watched No Time to Die and just trying to catch up on a lot of things on that. So I will eventually get back to the Wheel of Time, but it's not really bad for me. It's just not really super great for me. So I'm gonna have to get back into the Wheel of Time if I can. But I will tell you what, it is Peacemaker. It's something that at least we're going to give a shot. At least Josh said not right away. For me, I think I am going to give it a shot right away. So I will give my initial impressions next month when Peacemaker on HBO Max comes out. But are you excited for John Cena playing the role of Peacemaker once again in an HBO Max limited series? We want to hear your thoughts. PopCultureCosmos@yahoo.com. Well, once again, we're going to be coming at you right after the break. And after the break, we are going to hit you up with the Game Awards and our Game of the Year predictions. Five of the coolest pop culture gift ideas, including a property that has not been touched for 38 years. Just wanted to give you a heads up on that. Plus, will Josh stay at the house known for Home Alone? We'll talk about that coming up after the break. This is the Pop Culture Cosmos.
I have a weird request of you right now. Can you like make a really loud noise in like 3 seconds?
Okay, do like a Jim Carrey in Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah. Count to 3.
Sorry. Okay, go ahead. 3 seconds.
Count to 3.
1, 2, 3. Sorry if I'm blowing anybody's eardrums out.
Okay, hold on 1 sec.
All right. I hope that didn't kill anybody. It destroyed all of our audience. So I apologize for that. So, I was asked to do, and I did. So there you go. Let me know when I can start up the rest of the show, my friend.
Okay, sorry. This is frustrating because I can't tell if the audio is going into the Wisdom app.
Well, we'll know in the talk later because with the Wisdom app, my friend, not only can you hear stuff live and in living audio like us, you can listen later, my friend, because we will be in the audio archives of the Wisdom app. So you can check us out and me doing that scary sound in audio, maybe even in stereo. Hopefully not in mono. But we'll see what happens, my friend.
Yeah,
because
sorry.
it's
If off. I've been pulling things out of my mixer, so if anyone had their ears pop from that sound, I apologize. This is our first time
There
on
you,
Wisdom, just experimenting. All right.
yeah, we're gonna try. We're gonna go with this, man. We're gonna try and go ahead and get wisdom going. So because with wisdom app, we're gonna go ahead and talk more about that in a sec. But let me know when you're ready to get back to the rest of the show, my friend.
All right, sorry, we're good.
All right, we'll get 3, 2. And we're back with the Pop Culture Cosmos. It's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here with my good friend, Mr. Josh Peterson, Josh Reno, the Josh Master, the man, Mr. Holly Josh himself of the Christmas season. Want to go ahead and make sure you check us out on our brand new Wisdom app. That's right, the Wisdom app for conversations that matter. Talk with thoughtful and amazing people like us. You can listen live or listen later and be inspired by thousands of conversations just like ours. So go ahead and check it out on your iPhone app, and or the just basically the iApp right there, the Apple Store. Go to the Apple Store. Go ahead and download it today. It is the Wisdom app for life advice and so much more at the Wisdom app. Plus, also want to make sure everybody knows we are the #1 tabletop RPG streamer on Facebook. We're going to go ahead and check us out today. Pop Culture Cosmos on Facebook, Pop Culture Cosmos on YouTube, Twitch, and so much more. But all of our games, so many during the course of the week. We've got games of every weekend. We've got Saturday, Sunday. We've got Monday, the Demolition Force. We've got Tuesday with Rob and his whimsical one shot. We've got Wednesdays with Melinda. She does two, not just one, but two great shows. We've also got the Vampires and Vitae coming up Sunday afternoons as well. Plus, also, we've got other great things that always seem to go on and special events all the time, plus great interviews, and also the latest news and trends in pop culture on Pop Culture Cosmos at Facebook. But my friend, there's still much more to talk about on today's program. It is our favorite time of the video game year when we go ahead and get to talk about Jeff Keighley once again for the Game Awards. I know we do it every time around E3, but we're going to be talking about a little bit more Jeff Keighley again because we also love to talk about Jeff Keighley. Jeff Keighley, Jeff Keighley. Yay, Jeff Keighley. The man who has exceeded everybody's expectations in video game life. But he is, I got to give him credit. He is going ahead and doing another outstanding Game Awards show that's coming up. And I know that's such a hard undertaking to go ahead and do. So I want to give him props on that. I know I've teased and picked on him over the course of the years on some of the things that he said and done over the years. But you know what? I got to give him credit this year because he is not allowing any Activision Blizzard demos or trailers or anything like that as a response to the current allegations of sexual harassment that are currently going down and the fact that Bobby Kotick is still in power and regime as CEO. So I will give him all the respect in the world for doing that, other than the only representation that Activision Blizzard will have for anything relating to the Game Awards is actually if they're nominated for awards. So again, I want to give him props for that. But it is the Game Awards coming up on December 9th. It's going to be streamed out there, and I know a lot of people are going to check it out. We're going to see a lot of great trailers for upcoming games. This time, was it last year, we saw the great trailer for Mass Effect, the upcoming Mass Effect, so that got us all excited. So before we get into the game of the year, my friend, your thoughts on Jeff Keighley's brainchild, the Game Awards.
Yeah, so I don't know. Like it's yeah, I guess props to him on the whole Blizzard thing, but also, as far as the awards go, it kind of bums me out that we're not going to be able to see Halo Infinite in there at all. Because
Supposedly they got an advanced look at the game.
right,
Supposedly
but
that's the deal.
it didn't get any nominations, and I think that's something that kind of bums me out a little bit.
That's
And,
very telling right there.
well, no, it's just like the Game Awards should be in January, and they should give a chance for all these, because Forza made the list, so they should be giving an opportunity to these other December games that come out all throughout the year, because that means Halo won't be able to get nominated for anything else.
But Forza didn't get it in the right category that I'm thinking of. Yes, it got it in the sports category, blah blah blah. But as we'll go into it right now, my friend, the game of the year is the game that everybody talks about at the Game Awards. They don't talk about all the other categories that are out there. Really, once they're announced, everybody forgets about that. All they care about is the Game of the Year awards and the Game of the Year at the Game Awards. And the nominations came out for the Game of the Year presented by the Game Awards. And here are the nominations for the Game of the Year: Deathloop, It Takes Two, Metroid Dread, Psychonauts 2, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, and Resident Evil Village. So there's your list, my friend. And to me, outside of Deathloop, to me, all the rest of these games have been rated, and what I've seen and what I've interacted with have been good, even very good, but not great representations so far of 2021. Outside of Deathloop and its 10 from IGN and a lot of other people praising it at the time, I don't see any of these games that were released, just they were all thought of well, really well on some occasions, but not to the point where they were talked about as the game of the year.
Yeah, hold on. I'm trying to find my nomination list here.
Again, let me get to the nominations for what was again. It is starting with Deathloop, and then going into It Takes Two, which is a great co-op adventure. Metroid Dread, Psychonauts 2, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, Resident Evil Village. And again, It Takes Two, it got praised, but a lot of people don't like everything surrounding it, but the actual co-op part of it is a great part of it. It brings a lot of couch co-op, something that has been faded out of the video game, just experience, couch co-op. So that's something it brings back, plus online co-op. Metroid Dread, which is the major release for Nintendo this year. I mean, Resident Evil Village, which was a very good representation. It's a beautiful game to look at. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, which really is also a very good game to look at. Just a beautiful game on PlayStation 5. And you've talked about this game as well, but I don't remember hearing you saying that, wow, this was the best game of the year when you played through it. And Psychonauts 2, which is a worthy successor, but is it, it's very good. It was rated very good, but is it getting into this category because people feel like they shunned the original game because of how great the original game really was? In fact, it became a cult hit, and it didn't get across at that time along the mainstream. And now that many years later, they put out a sequel that, oh my gosh, we got to go ahead and reward this game because of what we didn't do for the first game. So I have a feeling to me, it's a little bit of that. And then of course, Deathloop, which got all the praise then in September, but really a lot of other games have when I'm hearing this game of the year talk since on all these shows and podcasts and things of that nature, doesn't get as much as it once did, the praise that it once did. But at the end of the year, awards are coming out for everybody, so we'll soon see. But your thoughts on this, man? I mean, I'm not seeing some of the stuff that you've praised so highly, like for instance, Forza Horizon 5 should be on this list.
Yeah.
For me, I
Hmm.
mean, Hitman 3 should be on this list. For me, the best multiplayer experience is not Halo, Call of Duty, or Battlefield. It was Chivalry 2. That was an incredible multiplayer experience, and it's not there as well.
Yeah, so there's a lot on this list that I mean, I've played 3 of these games. I've played Psychonauts 2, I've played Ratchet and Clank, and I've played Resident Evil Village. Resident Evil Village, really great game. Very, very good game. Very scary game.
Beautiful game. The
Beautiful
graphics
game.
are super.
Absolutely.
Character models are super sharp.
Yeah, absolutely spectacular game. Um, but, speaking to like Ratchet and Clank, I don't, it's a Ratchet and Clank game. I don't think it deserved all the praise that it got. Moving on to Psychonauts 2, fun game, but it was such an under the radar game. It doesn't feel like it really deserves to win Game of the Year. It surprised me that it made that category. Yes, I would have loved to see Forza Horizon 5 in there. You know what I really would have loved to see is Tales of Arise, because that game was absolutely spectacular. Probably the funnest. That's probably going to end up being my Game of the Year is Tales of Arise. So Deathloop, like, Yeah, I think they're basing it more on critical reception than things that normal people, actually enjoyed.
Absolutely. And then, of course, there's Mass Effect, but I don't think you can really call that original game of the year. So the Mass Effect, Legendary Edition for us was an incredible experience as well. So I don't know. I mean, for me, again, the best game of the year for me is still deciding upon it, but there's still with Forza Horizon, Hitman 3. There's so many other games out there that are also being talked about for game of the year that wasn't mentioned as part of this list. I'm not sure. Again, Resident Evil Village was getting a lot of eights, a lot of seven and a halves, eights, nines. So there was a lot of people that really praised it, but I'm not sure people praised it to the point where it should be talked about in the game of the year. When it comes out to Deathloop, Deathloop to me is the only game that came out with so much hype and so much critical praise upon it that I think it definitely deserves a spot on this list. I mean that's just my opinion. I mean, but of these six games, I think It Takes Two was praised very well for the co-op experience, but I think a lot of people are now talking about how disenchanted they were with the story and some of the plot things that went on, and as far as the ending is concerned. So people have been picking that apart now that it's been out for a little while. I think it should not be on this list as well. I think it's a good game, a very good game, but I don't think it deserves the spot on this list. I think there was enough on this year list this year that it could have been changed. I just think there's enough good games, very good games, great games that were made available this year in 2021. I think this is a very very good year for video games. That I think that this list should have been represented by three or four other games, and maybe you take some out, of course. Josh, you there? Josh, you there? Josh, I lost you. We've lost the wisdom app. We've lost everything. Josh, you there? Josh, you there?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just got notification that you are not coming in on the Wisdom app. So I'm just unplugging things and trying to figure out how to make them work.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Hey, first time for the wisdom app for everything. So we'll keep on trying it. But yes, man, my friend, I wanted to say again, the games itself, they're a good list. It's a solid list, but outside of Deathloop, which has gotten a whole ton of critical praise, I don't see any other game on this list being at the level within such a good year for video games, because this is one of the better years for video games I think that we've had in a long time. I really think that the list could have been made differently for the game of the year.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know how these nominations work. Again, it feels like it's based on critical reception because I don't know a lot of people that went out and said, "Oh yeah, I love Deathloop. It's such a great game." And yeah, so I just like it does feel like there should have been better things. Like you said, Chivalry 3 was
Chivalry
good.
2.
Chivalry 2,
Chivalry.
and there were indie games out there that and I would love to see an indie title make game of the year, but I don't I don't know if that's ever going to
Well,
happen.
Control maybe is probably, that
But
may have been
Control
the
was a
closest.
last year game though, remember?
Yeah. Yeah, but Control may be as far as close to the, you said indie or Hades. That was they were very well thought of by a lot of people as well. Both those games were not major studio games, I think, upon their release. Have I lost you again, Josh?
Yeah, okay, sorry. Yeah, I mean I know Hades was nominated for some things. Um But yeah, I don't know. Like, hold on. Let me get my game list out from this year, and let me go through what I have actually played, and then I'm just trying to remember like what. Okay, hold on. 2021. So here, let me regale you with my list here. The Medium, pretty good game. Resident Evil Village, excellent game. Ratchet and Clank, I did Haven, Artful Escape, Pokemon, so Forza. Yeah, I mean there was a lot of other good titles. And, Guardians of the Galaxy had people seem to enjoy, and that didn't make a nomination. I don't know. Just like this list doesn't really interest me that much. I don't really care about what wins Game of the Year this year. I would like if Resident Evil Village won. I think that would be a game well deserving of the win because that was a game that truly had enthralled me from beginning to end.
Well, there you go. There you have it. There's Josh's thoughts and my thoughts on the upcoming the Game Awards Game of the Year with the nominations are out. So I want to hear your thoughts out there in the Wisdom app or wherever you get our podcast and our show. If you got a chance, please let us know in the chat, or if you got a chance to go ahead, if you get a chance to go ahead and let us know your thoughts.
Trying to get to the
We're
main
at
point,
Pop Cult.
if that makes
What?
Oh, sorry. I was something Wisdom app just popped something up on my phone. All right, sorry. We're good. Keep going. No more distractions.
Okay, so if you have thoughts out there on what should be the game of the year amongst the nominees that the Game Awards has for this upcoming December 9th, Deathloop, It Takes Two, Metroid Dread, Psychonauts 2, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, Resident Evil Village. If any of those is your game of the year, or do you have another choice for game of the year, we would love to hear it. PopCultureCosmos at yahoo.com. Also, as well, Pop Culture Cosmos on the Wisdom app, Pop Culture Cosmos on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. You can chat with us there at Pop Culture Cosmo on Twitter or wherever you see Pop Culture Cosmos. Of course, Pop Culture Cosmos at yahoo.com. Well, my friend, before we head on out, I want to thank you so much as always. I know you've been working the Wisdom app as best you can through all the early stuff that's going on. We'll get this really squared away as soon as we can. Hopefully, it's been a good first time experience for everyone out there. And thank you so much for your patience on listening to us on the Wisdom app. And of course, everyone out there that listens to us on radio stations worldwide and wherever you get your podcasts. But before we head on out, my friend, you wanted to go ahead and talk some of the coolest pop culture gift ideas that are out there for your pop culture fan in your life. So I want to hear your thoughts, my friend, on 5 of the coolest pop culture gift ideas that you have that you would love to see put into your stocking this Christmas.
Yeah, okay. So these are mostly like I have some DVD stuff on here, but these are mostly like collectibles. The Office box set I think is an absolute must have. You know, you can go to Walmart, pick it up for about $40, and it's a great way to enjoy a classic show, especially since hopefully it'll stay on Peacock. But if you're somebody who likes to own things instead of having to stream them, the Office box set is definitely something worth looking into.
Ooh,
Next I got the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie figures by NECA. Have you seen those?
I have indeed.
They are very cool. They look just like they're from the movies and not from the cartoons. Also in the vein of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Walmart actually has these throwback figures that are recreations of the Playmate figures that were made back when, in the late 80s and early 90s. So you can go to Walmart, pick those up for about $12. Those are really neat. Next, I want to go to the Walmart just recently got a collection of Stranger Things action figures. Have you had a chance to check those out? You can get like 11.
I have just briefly though, just briefly. I know Rob and Jay who do the Jay and Rob show up for Jinx TV, plus also wherever you get your podcasts that they do advertise on this show. Wanted to go ahead and give them a shout out because they are the masterminds behind everything action figures right now.
Yes, yeah. So that's out there. GameStop right now has a sale on props, so you can buy like replica props of Stormbringer from Avengers Endgame. So that is another one. I think it's going for about $125 right now, and it's a full size replica. Comes up like if I'd say it's probably about 4 feet tall. Like it's a pretty big. It's a pretty big thing. Mm-hmm. So if you're into that, that is out there and that is really cool. Finally, I would like to talk about one more replica piece that I came across, and that is a Spider-Man helmet. And it's the eyes light up. You can wear it, and it's made out of metal, so it's kind of like the iron. It has the Iron Spider feel to it, but that is also available via GameStop, or you can find it on like eBay. I'm sure, probably for just a little bit more money. Like I said,
So,
oh, what's up?
so name off the. I think you have four that you've named off.
So I said The Office, the Ninja Turtle NECA figures, the Ninja Turtle remake figures.
Well,
Um,
that's kind of like the same thing, you know.
I guess so.
That's cheating, man.
You
That's
have
cheating.
you have Stormbringer, and you have the Spider-Man helmets, and
Come
then
on, that's kind of like four, man.
well, what else I got here?
I'll let you think of a fifth in a second because those
Okay.
are four very good ideas. Absolutely, that's four good. I'm not going to let you off the hook on trying to put Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles into two categories. No, no, no. So you got to give me one more. While you think of that,
Oh,
while
yeah,
you
yeah, yeah,
think of
sorry.
that,
I got it. I got one. This is the other one I was going
okay.
to say. They have lamps. You can buy lamps that are like that have Dragon Balls on them, and those
Mhm.
are available. You can get them from like I think they're on like Hot Topic, GameStop, and all those usual trendy pop culture places. But you can plug those in. It's a game. You can choose how many stars you want on the Dragon Ball itself. Pretty neat little thing, and that was something I was considering picking up for myself.
Okay, okay, that's a good list right there for you. So if you want to check that out, please go ahead and do so at the various outlets you can because those are five great ideas, including the smashed Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Got to smash it into one because if you're going to request one, you're going to request the other as the same thing, and you're going to get it all in one. Because you got somebody out there that loves you and loves the fact that you're into pop culture and obviously wants to make you happy. So you're gonna ask for one, you're gonna ask for another. So it's TMNT. What am I gonna say? What am I gonna say? So
TMNT.
yes, TMNT indeed. But for me and my list, it gets to the point where you want to go ahead and talk about pop culture stuff. I want to go ahead and start off with earbuds. Earbuds people need because they're either dropping them, losing them, they're can't find them, they've got it lost in the couch, or they accidentally stepped on them. So people always need a replacement on their earbuds. And you could go with some of the earbuds that I've reviewed over the course of the past couple of years, like the Helm Audio ones that I did, or the Lavanda Loons, or the One More Comfort Buds, which I got, which uh, I've reviewed that earlier this year, which you can go ahead and check out because that's as low as $59.99 for versions there that you can get on Amazon. Each of those three are really solid, so you can check that out. Or you can get into a different stylized version of earbuds. Like, for instance, if you type in the word Star Wars earbuds on Bing or Google, a ton of earbuds pop up with the Star Wars theme that are as low as $30. So you can go ahead and check that out. Or if you just want simple headphones, wired headphones that'll stick right in, you can get them as underneath $10 even still out there. So want to go ahead and check that out if you just type in Star Wars earbuds. But there's some really good things out there. Quality could be varying, so be warned. But still, just having some cool Star Wars earbuds or headphones might be really something that people would want to get into with the Star Wars motif. For number two, ugly Christmas sweaters, because it's that time of the year, everyone. And I know I have one already with Darth Vader on it, but with so many ones that I've seen out there already and out in stores like at Walmart and other retailers with Baby Yoda on it. I've seen Rick and Morty. I've seen Stranger Things. I've seen so many others, Friends that are out there. I mean, the Warner Brothers store, if you want to check that out, has tons of pop culture themed for their IP properties, for their properties that are out there. They have Christmas sweaters for that. Or if you just type in again, going ahead, heading back to Bing or Google, your favorite, the person that you're going to go ahead and gift it for, they're going to go ahead and give for their favorite pop culture IP. Type it in Star Wars Christmas sweater, or you can type in Superman Christmas sweater, or type in anything that you want Christmas sweater, and it's going to come up because there are a ton of ugly Christmas sweaters that are out there with your favorite pop culture IPs. So please go ahead and type that in because I think it'll be really worth it. Do you have a personalized? Do you have a pop culture ugly Christmas sweater, my friend? Because
I
I do.
I have a Dragon Ball Z Christmas sweater.
See, only you would have that, my friend. But they make one.
There's something out there for everybody.
Yes, yes. See, there you go. Even Josh has a Dragon Ball Z Christmas sweater, and I didn't even know one existed. So,
No,
if you have
yeah.
a person out there in your life that really loves a certain property and you would love to see them wrapped up in an ugly Christmas sweater as part of it, go ahead and check that out today. Just type in a search and it'll come right up for you. Next on the list, Josh, you like Funko Pops, right?
Yeah, sometimes. What do you got for me?
Well, there's if you go to certain places, and I actually this past week, when part of the Christmas shopping season, my daughters and I we walked into a store that is devoted to nothing but Funko Pops. It's a small local
Oh,
store here in the Fashion Show Mall in Las Vegas, and we walked into it, and it's wall to wall Funko Pops, but it's all commons. And nothing rare that we saw, nothing that we had to go out of our way to go ahead and get. But, it had the different variations of almost every
how do
pop culture
you
thing.
how do you tell what's common and what's not?
Well, if it's being sold and they have stacks of it and they have, if they have more than one of it, I'm assuming it's going to be a common.
Okay, all right.
And if it's also there in the middle of a shopping season and it's not being touched, I have a feeling it's a common. So,
Yeah,
if you're in the in crowd as far as the collectors for Funko Pops, you know where to get them, you know where to find them, you know which ones are rare, you know which ones are valuable. Like for instance, when you go to the Comic Cons, the conventions, I mean, they have specialized, only released to that Comic Con Funko Pops, and then they also have rare editions that come out.
that's
If
true.
you get into the mix, you'll know which ones to get.
Yeah, I know Comic Con always has those like releases because I know they did some special edition Megazords via I think it was Comic Con 2017 that go for pretty big price on eBay.
So I want to ask you this, my friend. Have you ever thought of getting a Funko Pop of yourself?
I cannot say that I have.
But now you can, my friend, because
Oh,
there are ways to go ahead and get a personalized Funko Pop. So personalized Funko Pops are now available, and that would be an amazing gift. Although I'm assuming you would have to get that right now and order that right now because it does take time to go ahead and have that done. So if you want to go ahead and do it or do it yourself, there's a do it yourself model that you can go ahead and get for $12. But again, personalized Funko Pops are available on that. So if you want to go ahead and get personalized Funko Pops, you can go to Etsy. They're available out there, but they do cost a little bit. But yes, if you want to go ahead and go and check out a customized Funko Pop of the person in your life you want to get it for, would be a really cool gift indeed. But we've gone through the list right now, coming up on two more things. Arcade One Up and II Arcade are two great things. You have a Legends Ultimate right behind you. I
I
mean, those are
do.
great things. Yeah. So there you go, my friend. You've been into it. I have an Arcade One Up here, my friend. One of the things that has been long asked for, and I recently mentioned it on one of the other shows, is an Arcade Tron One Up. So an
Oh,
Arcade One Up Tron has been
okay.
recently released, and you can get that through the arcade1up.com site, along with other, ton of other available options. But Tron with the actual flight stick and the wheel right there, giving you recreating that experience. I think that's something that people have recreated on their own because they've been able to do it themselves, but now it's being released in a retail fashion. I think if people are really looking forward to going back in time and back to the pizza joints and the arcades and playing Tron, go ahead and check out arcade1up.com and their version of the Tron Arcade One Up console that they have. So you want to go ahead and check that out. It looks really good. It looks realistic. It looks like I guess, a smaller version of the one that everybody knows and remembers. So give it a chance if you're interested. If you're in a going back in time to going ahead and checking out and playing Tron once again, arcade1up.com. And last but not least, my friend, I want to go ahead and let you know about Dark Horse. See, everybody knows about Dark Horse and comics and Dark Horse Comics, that they have a great list of comics that are out there. they also have a ton of pop culture books that are out there. So if you have someone in your life that's looking forward to maybe in more Hellboy, Stranger Things, Halo Infinite, some really good books that are relating to there. They've all been released in recent times. American Gods. There's so many different pop culture IPs that are there as far as the book part of Dark Horse Books. Just check out darkhorse.com. But one thing hit me in particular, my friend, and I was actually I think recording one of our shows, editing one of our shows a couple of weeks ago, and in the background, you always like to have something playing in the background just to keep your mind active and busy while you're editing and whatnot. And the thing I had on YouTube in the background was Buckaroo Banzai Across the Eighth Dimension, something I hadn't
Oh.
seen
Oh.
in years. I actually saw that in the 80s in a movie theater. Or was it no, it was a TV. It was on TV. I'm sorry. Yeah, so I haven't seen that in years, decades. So you remember that movie, my friend?
No, I remember I know the title. I don't think I've ever like watched it.
With Peter Weller, Jeff Goldblum. Just it's not a movie now that you would watch and say, okay, this was great or anything like that. It was a not a successful movie at the movie theaters. It turned out to be a cult like movie. People following it, many years later. It is not the most politically correct of movies. I will say that as well. So I think that
Yes.
so it will not. It's a movie that would not fly in today's current climate.
Okay. All
I
right.
mean, even the name Buckaroo Banzai, because
Is
Peter
this
Weller played the role before,
Yeah,
so
is this like Lone Ranger, having Johnny Depp play like Tonto or something, or like stereotyping
uh,
Native Americans?
kind of leaning in that direction. Although the character himself is his parents are, I think one was American, one was Japanese, so I think that created the name of Buckaroo Banzai, I believe,
Okay.
if I remember correctly. But he's a neurosurgeon who dabbles in, as far as other, he's a scientist, neurosurgeon, does all these different things, and he's an adventurer, rock star, whole these he lives the life I think everybody would love to live. I think that's
Yeah.
part of it. And the movie itself and the first book that it's based off of and the screenplay that is based off of, it all centers around going across to the eighth dimension and fighting against aliens there, and
Yeah.
him ultimately saving the day and all that with his group of cast of characters that are almost as wild as he is as far as it's concerned. That's part of it. If you enjoy the movie, you enjoy all the cast of different characters, the support characters, which included Jeff Goldblum in a cowboy outfit in the entire time. So that was kind of amusing in and of itself. And but still, it's a movie that has not dated itself very well, and of course, it's not the most politically correct of movies. And I'm just going to leave it at that. But the last thing before the end of the show, or the end of the movie, you saw was, how the Marvel movies say the Eternals will return, or Shang-Chi will return, or
Mm-hmm.
the Avengers will return, blah blah blah. At the very before the credits roll, right?
Right.
The last thing, this movie was a precursor, because the last thing that this movie said before the credits rolled was the Buckaroo Banzai will return in a with a sequel entitled Buckaroo Banzai against the World Crime League, I believe it was. So
It's like
I'm
the
just
world's
telling you,
longest cliffhanger right here. Everyone's just
yes.
been
So yep.
clamoring.
So yeah, that was 38 years ago that movie came out. And the original writer of the screenplay, Earl MacRauch, Earl MacRauch, he actually went ahead and the original screenplay. He finally, after 38 years, the sequel has finally come out to bookstores. It came out last month. I actually didn't know, so I
Oh.
looked it up. I looked at just for kicks after I watched the movie that night. And as I was editing, I looked it up on a search. Did he ever make Against the World Crime League? And sure enough, it came out like 2 weeks before I actually saw this film. So just as a coincidence. So Buckaroo Banzai Against the World Crime League. If anybody out there is a fan of the Buckaroo Banzai original movie from the 80s, it is out now. It is available. It is part of the darkhorse.com library. You want to go ahead and check out all the books that they have there covering so many famous IPs at darkhorse.com. But it is out there. It is, again, the successor the sequel 38 years after the original movie came out, written by the actual same gentleman who wrote the original screenplay for Buckaroo Banzai Across the Eighth Dimension. So it's there. If you're interested, check it out today at darkhorse.com. So great ideas, my friend. Great ideas for pop culture gifts out there for someone in your life. So I want to let you know. Thanks, my friend, for the great idea and the great suggestion for 5 great pop culture gifts for this holiday season. If you have a pop culture gift idea for that someone special in your life, please let us know. Popculturecosmos at yahoo.com or the Wisdom app or Facebook or YouTube or Instagram or everywhere we're at. Pop Culture Cosmos, indeed. But my friend, it's been a great episode. Cannot thank you enough for your patience with the Wisdom app and everything that's gone on there. And also as well, everybody that listened to us and watched us on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook. Also as well, the Wisdom app. Cannot thank enough our new listeners there. Plus also as well, everybody that checks us out everywhere worldwide on radio and wherever you get your podcasts. But before we head on out, my friend, I know you're a bigger Home Alone fan than I am. I know you were enticed when you probably heard this news, but Airbnb recently acquired the rights to go ahead and let you have the opportunity to stay at the same home famous for the Home Alone movie. And if you do decide to go ahead and do so, you may very well have the opportunity to go ahead and have, as part of that experience with the original Home Alone house, get to go ahead and not only experience some of the traps that are there, but let Buzz McAllister himself, the older brother, I think of the older brother, right? Greet you into this Airbnb. So I want to hear your thoughts as someone who loves to go ahead and travel and loves the Home Alone IP a lot more than I do. Let me hear your thoughts on this. Would you love to stay at a Home Alone Airbnb?
You know what? For $25 a night, of course. I mean, that just is like a given. And I have a feeling there's going to be a waiting list on that thing that lasts, several years. But $25 a night to stay in the Home Alone house is a pretty good deal, if you ask me.
Yeah, absolutely. Although you must be 18 plus, just want to let everybody know, and have a verified Airbnb profile and a history of positive reviews before you're allowed that. It is, I believe, in Winnetka, Illinois. It's just north of Chicago. So they'll tell you the exact they'll tell you the exact location once you go ahead and book it. But yes, it's got a greeting by it's got a greeting by Buzz McAllister. It's got traps set up for you and all that good stuff that you can go ahead and experience it, just like the great movie that was I guess great movie. I didn't even like it, but the movie that came out before. So I mean, seems like you're up for it, man. You think the family would be as well?
You can the address is listed online. You just Google the address of the house. It's right here, 671 Lincoln Avenue, Winnetka,
Okay,
Illinois.
well, Airbnb blew it on that
one. Yeah, I mean my girls love Home Alone quite a bit, so much so that we have to limit how much they watch it because they tend to quote every line in that movie. But yeah, I mean, again, $25 a night. Sure, why not? I mean, I don't know if like from here if that trip would be worth it, but if I were in the neighborhood of Illinois, then sure, why not?
Okay. All right, man. I'm just checking indeed. But if anyone out there would love to stay at a Home Alone Airbnb at the original house that is from Home Alone, share your thoughts. Popculturecosmos at yahoo.com. Well, my friend, it's been a great episode. I want to give another warm welcome to our friends out there on the Wisdom app. Cannot thank them enough for joining us. And please, if you're interested, again, in some great conversations, you'd be inspired by thousands of conversations that are available to you now, live, and also available later at any time of your convenience. Go ahead and check out the Wisdom app today. Download it on iPhone, the iPhone app today. Download the iPhone app today. And coming soon to Android for all you Android users like me out there. So please go ahead and check out everything that's going on with the Wisdom app. But my friend, it's been a great episode. Any last thoughts before we head on out?
No, I mean, on the topic of Home Alone, you can also buy the Home Alone house as a Lego set for like $300.
Of course you
if
can.
you're interested in that. And it comes with all the, you can like open it up and play in the back of it like a dollhouse. It's pretty neat.
That's pretty neat indeed. Although, again, you'll have to set up your own traps, and that's part of the fun. But yeah, if you want to go ahead and set up your own traps and have your own Home Alone experience, Lego or Airbnb, there you go. Just don't watch the latest Home Alone or Home Alone, Home Sweet Home Alone, or whatever it's called on Disney Plus. That I think you can live without. So for Josh Peterson, this is Gerald Glassford. It's another beautiful day in paradise right here in the Pop Culture Cosmos. We thank you for listening. And here's hoping you have yourself a great